We're going to talk a little bit more about this and where we go from here as a country. Let's bring in our panel right now. Ellis, Henican, columnist at Newsday, radio and TV commentator, and also Ford O'Connell, Republican strategist, both frequent contributors and guests to the show. We're very happy to see both of you guys, and they're both in New York City, but separated digitally by our 3-box here, so there will be no flailing and fighting each other, gentlemen. Let's get started here. During his presidency, President Obama has had to walk a tightrope when it comes to race in the United States. Some say he hasn't stayed on that tightrope, fallen off a few times. His presidency was once heralded as a post-racial triumph, but here we find ourselves after all of these protests. Ellis, President Obama, he didn't exactly make things better when it comes to the issues of race. Would he set up to fail, though?
Well, I have no idea what you're talking about. First of all, falling off the tightrope. The couple of realities here, right? He's the first black president in America, right? He's had a huge achievement in that world. People are proud of him on a personal level, even you guys who hate all his policies. And in fact, he has led to a calming and a franker discussion of all these issues than we ever got before. Doesn't mean the issues are solved. Doesn't mean it's fair for all poor black people in America. Doesn't mean civil rights is something we can forget about. But on balance, it's been a very positive and a good thing for America. And I thought the statement on the night of the decision by the grand jury was terrific. Calming, soothing, didn't stop the hoodlums on the street, but it was a good step, right?
Ellis, I couldn't disagree with you more. A recent New York Times CBS poll says 35% of Americans think that race relations have in fact gotten worse. And I think we did have unrealistic expectations of President Obama. We thought he could narrow this gap. We thought things would be a lot better. Unfortunately, they're not, and he has had a tendency to stub his toe, particularly with the Cambridge, Massachusetts incident with Henry Louis Gates, also jumping the shark with Zimmerman. And yes, I do think he hit the right tone with respect to Ferguson, but I think he should have been calming earlier. And really, at the end of the day, I think President Obama's biggest problem is he has a hard time differentiating between the president and being a black man. And unfortunately, Ellis, I think that is his biggest problem right now.
Why should he differentiate? Why not be honest, right? Don't we expect our political leaders to talk to us like grown-ups and say, listen,
Ellis,
I've got a job as president, but I'm a father of a couple of kids, I've got a wife, I've got a family, I've got this experience. That's a good thing for not something to hide.
I don't disagree with you, but we want them to be fair, and I think a lot of Americans don't think that President Obama has been fair with respect to what happens when certain racial issues pop up.
Let's also state the obvious here too. We're 3 white guys talking about the issue of race here, but it does affect us. And Ellis, I also want to mention something else too that's a truth about President Obama is, yes, he is technically the first black president, but he's also just as much white as he is black, and his experience growing up is far different than a lot of African Americans who grew up in this country.
Now you're going
hold on, John,
John, that's silly.
But he has international experience. He did not.
People.
I'll let you answer that, Ellis. Go ahead.
I'm just saying you're representing 350 million people, and if he has nosedived anywhere since 2009, it's with white working class blue collar voters. Frankly, he was at a 49% approval rate with him in 2009, and now he's down to 21%. I think Chuck Schumer's hit the nail on the head, and that is it's because he didn't focus on all of America and didn't focus on strengthening the middle class, and I think that that's what's hurt him, and I think that that's why sometimes when he weighs into racial issues, it seems like he's favoring one side versus being fair for all of America.
And let's acknowledge something else that is absolutely true. There are some people out there in America, we even know some of them. I got some relatives who are like that, who still have some pretty backwards ideas about race. I mean, certainly the reactions to what went on in Ferguson very heavily broke down on racial lines. That can't be an accident. There are people, John and Ford, who really are still possessing I'm trying to say this delicately, but
well, save it, Ellis, save it, because we want to give it the time it deserves. We got to step aside for commercial break, but we're coming right back with Ellis Henican and Ford O'Connell right after this short commercial break.